sports TV executives of the world. Freddie Couples wants to be on a Manning cast, maybe even running his own, maybe a couples cast. That could work, right?
You and I will go on, yeah. We'll dominate the hell out of this
Absolutely.
stuff.
400-yard par 4 here. What's your line off the tee? What are you looking at?
I actually hit it pretty good. I pulled it a little bit.
Smoked it.
But for this particular shot, if I was in a tournament, I probably would hit a 3-wood because I can draw it.
Interesting.
So today, you know, it's cold. I hit a driver. I'm in the left rough, which is fine. If you'd seen a couple I've hit already, I would beg for this shot. But it's a really well-designed hole with a bunker, and that's what he wants you to do, kind of take it at the bunker and try and draw it. I don't draw a driver very well, but a 3-wood I can hook with the best of them.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Very good to know. All right, so I'm wondering, you have a pretty good relationship with Jim Nantz from back in the college days.
I do.
I'm wondering, do you have a favorite Jim Nantz story?
One of the greatest stories that he ever pulled on me was funny, and he can tell you that. But for us, you know, in college, we really did. Almost once a week or once a month, we talked about him interviewing me for Augusta, and Blaine McAllister for the US Open, and John Horn was our roommates. And at that time, I really didn't know exactly what he was doing, but he would come in and he had interviews with Nolan Ryan, Muhammad Ali, Elvin Hayes, all the great, J.R. Richard, all the great Houston players, and he was working. And I just couldn't put that together because we're in school, he was a sophomore, and some of the stories, you know, one of them is he tricked me. I let him use a couple of my clubs. He was playing after a tournament. When I was done, he went out to play 9. And so the next day he mixed his 3-wood with mine. So as you know, I go through a wedge and I hit an 8 and I take the head cover off my 3-wood and it was a boom boom 3-wood, but it was Jim's. And I'm looking at my caddy, and I won't swear, but I'm like, what's going on here? This freaking guy, I tee off in 20 minutes and he exchanged my 3. So, and he was sitting in the background, they were filming it. So he got me pretty good. But he's all time. He's the one who really got us through school. I struggled and we got in classes with him, but he's all time.
What would you say is the biggest strength of his golf game? Or biggest weakness, if that comes easier?
Well, the biggest weakness, so when we were in college, he was on the team for reasons. He was a high school player. I would say back then, he could drive the ball pretty well. Yeah. And that was a strong part of his game. And the last few times, he's working hard on his game as he gets older, but probably driving.
Interesting.
Because he's a good 6, 7, 8, 9 iron player. He's got a good putting stroke, but he could drive it like I am today.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All over the place. But that's probably the weakest part now.
You give him any advice on driving? I mean, I would think you got Fred Couples' number in your phone, you know, you could call up for a couple tips.
My line is, I couldn't teach Jack Nicklaus how to play golf. I don't know really much about a swing. I just kind of know my swing. Yeah. And I could say silly stuff like, you know, take it here or there, but I can't teach anybody. I'm not that good at it.
So you famously never had a golf lesson.
You know, that's
mostly true.
Partially true. Yes. No, I was around a couple guys, Steve Dallas and Steve Cole. They helped me out, but I never stood there and took like an hour lesson where they told me, you know, this, that. They did help me on my game a ton. And then when I was 25, I started working with Dick Harmon, who's passed away, but my teacher now, Paul, of 38 years, was a college teammate, and he worked for Dick. And Dick said, look, you work so well with me, I teach the same thing Paul, I'm gonna have Paul teach you, and then Paul has been my teacher forever.
That's awesome. Yeah. So do you think there's some merit to being a field player then, versus an overly technical guy?
See, those are great questions. So if we're talking now, I think they all have a feel for the game, meaning they know what they're doing, but the clubs are so much better and the ball's so much different. Where when I was 28 years old, I I wasn't better than these guys, but I played different shots because I was a field player. I just didn't stand up and hit an 8-iron as hard and as high as I could. But that's kind of what they're doing now because, well, look where this pin is. I mean, you know, it's tucked. You've got to hit the correct shot and this girl right here can do it. She's going to take it up with a lot of spin. I mean, she has club head speed. So there you go. I talked her right. She's going to hole it. Woo! But that's how a lot of tour players hit it.
Absolutely.
They hit it with a lot of spin.
Interesting.
Now me over here in the rough, I'm going to have to maneuver some shot to get it on the green. But,
we'll talk through this when we get up here.
How much? 108.
All right.
There you go. So 94. I'm going to try and carry this 100. You gave me a good lie. Thank you, Tyler.
What do we like feel-wise here? What are you thinking about?
Well, see, it immediately triggers into my brain a 100-yard shot. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grip it a little tighter in my left hand so the club doesn't turn any. And that'll keep it square, and then it's just going to hopefully be high and semi-soft.
Oh, be good.
If you have that on tape.
What's that, 5 feet,
See,
10 feet?
It's going to roll to the back. That's
Ran
why
up there.
You got to be in the short
out of here, yeah.
But sometimes when amateurs get in the rough, they'll grip it the same. And when you hit the rough, the club will turn a little bit. So it'll go low and to the left. So I don't death grip it, I just grip it a little bit tighter.
So 1 to 10, what would you say your grip strength is there?
Normal is like an 8. I grip the club very light. So if it's in the rough like that, and if it's in the real thick rough, then I can really grab it. But I'd say it's just, 9. But again, when I'm waggling over it, you can come and just take now that doesn't, it's like if you're, like any sport, when you're here, you're not death gripping it, you're milking it, and you're, boom. Golf's the same. And when you see people gripping it so tight, look at this. Is that your guys'?
That's ours.
Oh, that's awesome. You got to be loose at the start.
Totally, absolutely. So who are your sports teams then? Who do you root for?
Mariners, we just made the playoffs.
Of course, yeah.
Now,
I was in Seattle right when that happened.
There you go, right. I love the Seahawks, but the weird teams, I like the St. Louis Cardinals. I do like the LA Rams. When I was a kid, I always wanted a helmet. I never really played, but maybe 1 year. Montreal Canadiens. So those are weird teams, but I would say, I went to Houston. I always follow the Cougars.
Definitely, of course.
And we're struggling a little bit. Every game we play is going into overtime, and we're not winning a lot of them. But, I do this radio show, and at the beginning, I'm going to tell him this stuff. He's a lover of all sports. Yeah, but I never pay any attention because I'm always getting ready to open it up, but a lover of all sports, that's true.
What's your bucket list sports experience? Something you wish you could do that you haven't done?
Jeez. Well, I watched us lose in Arizona to the Patriots, the Seahawks, on the play where Russell threw it, which is fine. So I've seen a great Super Bowl where my team played. I've been to a World Series with the Yankees. I've been to an NBA Finals. But for me personally, wow, what a question. As I get older, you're going to laugh at this. I would love to walk around the last day of a U.S. Open and hoping that the 2 people I follow, one of them wins, just to see for 4.5 hours. I've watched golf. I've watched Tiger play at Augusta. I missed the cut, but that's weird. But just to see, I'm not going to dress up like Eli Manning, but I want to see 2 guys battle, and just to see what they do in 18 holes. Because when you watch on TV, you're not seeing what they're doing and all that. But that is a weird thing. But all this, I did fly cross country to see Patrick Waugh.
That's awesome.
Who did he broke someone's record for most goals. And I used to know Patrick pretty well. That's probably one of the craziest things I did. My caddy and I, we went from California to Washington, D.C., and they won in overtime. And I have the ticket.
Worth the trip.
It really was worth the trip. Good putt. I don't know.
Alrighty. Greens are notoriously fast here, I hear.
Yes.
So what are you looking at?
Well, Tyler's going to tell me. I think it breaks about a cup left. This scares me a little bit right here. The way it's sitting. If it was right here, it'd be a no-brainer, but is it going to break left? Yeah. So, again, you got to get it onto the green, and you got to have some really good feel.
Keep going.
But I would take that in any tournament.
That's a very good par. That's a very good par.
But that sports thing, that's a heck of a question.
We might have to put the glasses and the mustache on you so you're not getting recognized
Boy, was
out
that
there.
incredible. Eli Manning going there. That was well done. Now, are they trying to tell me that the coaches didn't know it was him?
I think some of them did.
Okay.
They must have.
Okay, because it was pretty darn cool. But I do like the Manning cast.
Very cool,
I think
right?
that's a beautiful thing that happened because I think that's going to take off might even happen in golf.
Would you go on if they invited you?
Yeah. I went on the Manning cast for, I'm going to get this wrong, I don't want to be, U.S. Open? When they had
PGA Championship.
Thank
PGA.
you, Joe Buck and...
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and the second day, I had so much fun the first day. The second day I went on and got run over by Pat Perez. And, he was in Vegas. I'm not, look, I said, Pat and I don't get along because of the live thing, but before that we got along swimmingly. I just am not, a crazy, I like to go on there and have fun.
Absolutely.
And he was wild. He took over. But it was good. But I really think that what they do in that, I don't even know why ESPN shows the other.
Yeah, it's fun,
I'm
right?
sure it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Jim Nantz said, Tony Rono's changed his life. He knows so much about every frickin' play.
Totally.
These guys know everything that's going. I mean, 2 quarterbacks with 4 rings, and they know every play. I find it entertaining.
It's awesome. It's like a PhD in sports.
Yeah.
It's
I
great.
mean, that's why I know it sounds stupid. It could be Augusta too, to watch a couple guys play.
That's awesome.
And it would be a Debbie Downer if some guy won, 2 groups behind him. But
well, if you're hearing this, sports
Yeah.
TV executives of the world, Freddie Couples wants to be on a Manning cast, maybe even running his own, maybe a couples cast. That could work, right?
You and I'll go on, yeah. We'll dominate the hell out of this
Absolutely.
stuff.
Thanks so
All right.
much, Freddie.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.